The new and improved ranking system. Alright, here we are with the Cyclone. This car is super sleek, and I do like how it looks a lot. Kind of gives me that like supercar kind of feel. To be honest, I didn't even know this car existed until I started doing a series like this, so it's super cool to see that there's a bunch of cars I still have to play with. But yeah, this is a Cyclone. Overall, it looks really good. I really don't have any complaints about it. I do like how it looks. It does look like it might have a dominant hitbox. I'm actually not too sure. But it looks super cool, and I think that's gonna factor into how I think it's gonna play. But overall, super nice. Alright guys, here we are with the Cyclone. The hitbox for this car is actually the hitbox or the breakout, which is crazy to me. Which I guess, I mean, maybe not too crazy, kind of makes sense, it's around the same size. But yeah, it has the breakout hitbox, so it's one of those cars that does a little bit better in the air, kind of softer touches. So we'll see how that goes in gameplay. But just looking at the hitbox itself, you see that right here is a little bit of real estate. It's actually not as bad as other cars. There's a little bit of a gap and maybe a little bit of real estate in the back and the front. But other than that, it's pretty standard. I mean, we come to expect from these cars. Nothing too crazy in the front, nothing too crazy in the back, or I guess vice versa, sorry. Looking top down, it does sort of meet almost perfect. I know most of the breakout cars usually meet perfectly, which is I guess a nice thing to see, but here, way better than most cars. A little bit of real estate, but again, nothing too crazy. Overall, I think it's gonna be a good car. Let's actually see how it does in game. So as for this Cyclone, I did not like the car at all. I mean, considering it looked nice and it was a supercar kind of feel and whatever, and I had my opinions about it, it did not look good in the game. I just felt like I couldn't perform with it. I couldn't really make any goals. I felt slow for some reason, and I know this has nothing to do with the actual car. Most of the cars are all the same and yada yada yada, but my personal preference and how I felt about the car was terrible. I don't recommend using it, at least for me. Not a car I really enjoyed, to be honest. That's it. I just felt slow. I felt like I couldn't perform. I couldn't do the aerials that I normally do. I couldn't even put pressure. I felt like even the rotating was terrible. I don't know. It just threw me off. Not a car for me. Sucks that I didn't like it, but it is what it is. Alright, here we are with the Samurai. So this car, right off the bat, looks cool. It's casual. Like it's such a big car. It looks so wide and blocky. I'm not sure how it looks in game, but man, this car is super wide. Also, one of those cars I'm not sure. Didn't even know it existed. And I mean, the design is really off the wall. And these lights right here kind of give me like the Bugatti feel, but man, the rear kind of gives me like the Lamborghini Diablo feel. But Jesus Christ, this car is massive. It just looks like one big plank. I'm assuming it has the plank hitbox just because of how low and wide it is. But other than that, I'm super excited to see how that hitbox looks. Alright guys, here we are with the Samurai. This is a massive car just by looking at it. And let me tell you what, I was not expecting this hitbox. It is the breakout hitbox. Same thing like the Cyclone. It's outrageous the fact that this is a breakout. I mean, wow, there's already a big gap in, right here, so it's already not looking good. This car is massive. It looks massive. I mean, look at this. The real estate even comes off the camera a little bit. But that's just the side view. The front has all this whole little thing in the front going on. Looking at the back, it just further accentuates up here. Wow, does this car break past the side barrier? Well, it does. Look at that top-down view. Sorry for the camera angle. Let's see if I could change that a little bit. Right there, give or take. Yeah, wow. The fact that this car breaks the side barrier just a tad is wild. I think this is the first car that does that. It actually doesn't even fit in the box perfectly. It comes out from the front, comes out from the sides, comes out in the back. I mean, I think it's the first time it literally fills up the hitbox. That being said, it's not too much, and I think it might do well, just considering the fact that it just fills up all this space. Wow, yeah, but I mean, at least that's from top down. It's looking at the actual gap in the top. It's not the best, but overall, it fills it up on that actual hitbox. So let's actually see how it does. So overall, I'm still super surprised that this car has the breakout hitbox, but you know what? It wasn't the worst. It wasn't the best car. I think it was more leaning towards the worst than the best, if that makes sense. I wouldn't drive it again, but in the air, it wasn't too bad. It felt like I had the control for the most part. It felt like the touches did feel a little softer, and I was able to do that, a little bit more control. But everywhere else, the car was not for me. This car was a damn brick. It felt like I was waving a pallet, a flat piece of paper. Like it just didn't. It was so not flexible. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It wasn't on the ground. It's terrible. It's not necessarily the best car for me. The turn radius was whatever. The driving itself was whatever, and the shape of it just looks so massive. Just a square driving around. But in the air, it wasn't too bad considering the shape. But yeah, that's my take on it. Not for me. Alright guys, so here we are with the ranking that I did for my last video, and all the work that I did in the combination of the very few videos that I made. I'm going to throw that out to the trash, mainly because we're going to be changing it for a different kind of ranking system in more of a sense of how I like it more than anything, whether I love it, hate it, neutral with it, or I'm not too crazy about it. And it just makes more sense because this is not a definite ranking, and it's going to be overall, I guess, tie easier into my video. Alright, so here we are with the new and improved ranking system. The love, like, neutral, dislike, and hate. I went on ahead to put all the cars I already reviewed, so as you can see, just a quick recap. I love the Twinster, nothing's gonna beat that at the moment. I like the Breakout, the Toyota Camry, the Formula 1, Ford F-150. I'm neutral with the Mudcat, Lamborghini, and the NASCAR Camaro. I'm not a big fan of. I dislike the R3MX, GXT, and MSGP, and the Ford Mustang, and I hate the X-Devil and the Scarab. I'm gonna have to put the Scarab in another category of even more than hate, but for now, that's where it's gonna sit. Alright, so as for where I'm gonna put the two cars that I just reviewed, the Cyclone and the Samurai, I'd say the Cyclone's gonna probably end up in the dislike section, and I'm probably gonna put the Samurai in that same section too. I'm gonna put them both in that dislike section. I wasn't a big fan of them. They weren't for me. They definitely did not react the same way, and maybe because they were the Breakout hitbox, it wasn't for me. And although the Breakout is a hitbox I am a fan of, these cars really didn't implement it well for me, so I'm gonna have to leave them there in that dislike section. Well, there you have it, guys. That is the new ranking system that we have. Well, or I guess love and hate kind of system. I'll figure out the name as the videos come along, don't worry. But it is going to make things a lot easier for me. It just makes more sense because this is more of a personalized, I guess, ranking system of all the cars. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys can please leave a like and subscribe, it'll really help me out in the YouTube algorithm. But other than that, have a great one, guys.